Here we go.
I just won't be commenting a lot.
Oh, it's gonna be such an interesting night.
I've been very engulfed in spooky stuff.
You have so much to watch.
Did you get the invite, by the way,
What invite?
for the party stuff?
Oh yeah. You have so
Very
much.
good. The invite, by the way. Oh, that was background noise there.
Yep.
I'm sure where that came from.
That was my
Oh, that was pretty good, though. I have to admit. Are we gonna talk about Venom or no?
Yeah, talk away.
We just can't talk about Visions. I don't want spoilers for or not Visions. What If?
Tough luck.
Which Phil had mentioned watching it last night, and I don't know, we forgot, I guess. We were playing Fortnite.
Ooh, that was a hard exit.
That was a hard.
Yeah.
That was a hard exit.
Good.
We're still working on transitions here, so
It's different in that producer seat, ain't it?
I am no flip-flopper when it comes to making this smooth, okay? The way I look at it is at least we can function tonight, and that's a win.
Are we gonna be on Twitch?
Yeah, we're
We're on all of it.
Yeah. What's going on, y'all? This is the Marauders podcast, the nerd podcast, that is. And you know how we do it, man. We just sit up here and talk all things nerdy. And so with that, go ahead and introduce. We're gonna start ladies first. So Shane, go ahead.
Oh yeah, Shane, go ahead.
I'm gonna take this on and I'm gonna roll with it. Because you know what? I mean, the ladies are the best. So if I'm gonna finally make that echelon, so be it. I could be like the bearded lady you see at the what is it, the circus? I'd make a pretty lady. But it's C3PP tonight. C3PP tonight. I've had nothing but glitches the last couple weeks, so I'm hoping that by embracing the name, maybe I'll put it behind me. Maybe.
That's what's up. Fufu, what you got for us this evening?
Oh, I've got Michael Myers as my hero because it's spooky season and there's a new Halloween movie coming out.
Yeah, you was pretty disappointed with the last one, so I hope this
one...
I
was.
Yeah,
but I'm so invested that I have to watch all the new stuff.
Oh,
that's like number 12. How many have they made?
Well, okay, so I don't remember the name of this one, but next year's is like supposed to be it.
Yeah, Halloween Kills is this one.
So there's another one after this one already confirmed?
So basically what they did is everything after the first Halloween, they exiled it. And these three here are the real follow-ups. So they basically like that the other stuff is variants. They're in different universes.
Yeah.
They pulled a Disney and we're just like, okay, we're gonna throw all this garbage away.
Yeah. It's like I don't know, like I like the second Halloween, but then once you start getting into the third and the fourth, it's like, what the heck?
I'm a big fan of Halloween H2O, obviously, because made it through the whole thing. So
he did.
You know, normally we get off first, so.
Which, you know, that was a big reason why whenever they brought H2O back, it, of course, like smashed records. So the people that created Halloween, which Wes Craven doesn't own the rights anymore, but the people that have continued on the franchise, they were like, okay, so that's the magic ingredient is Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah. So, but it didn't work with Halloween Resurrection.
What's going on, y'all? I am the Force Wielder, aka Ace Kennedy. You know how I do it. Talk nerdy to me. And before we start diving into more, you see what this night is going to be. We just already talking. That sponsor up there, Shane.
I did not get a Sonic drink today.
Thank you, Sonic. Thank you for sponsoring us. Thank you for keeping us afloat. And thank you for everybody who takes the time to invest in us as we journey down these nerdy topics. And so, yeah, we're going to get right back into it. So to start off with tonight, let's kind of talk about some business stuff. So first, I know it seems kind of weird, but so Disney or the MCU is kind of in jeopardy for, like, they have filed against
Stan Lee's
estate, because basically what it is, they have this rule to where you can sell a property, and after so many years, you can file to get the properties back. And so the MCU is basically trying to jump on the ball and sue early so that maybe it can go through arbitration or whatever, or maybe they can come to some agreement behind the scenes,
Yep.
and then we can keep these characters, because it's characters like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. I don't. Spider-Man is one, but yeah. So there's
It's all of
several
them, isn't it?
popular characters, yes, that are up in this
But
particular.
I thought Spider-Man was owned by Sony.
It is, but what it's still a Marvel property,
Yep.
so
Mhm.
it still counts. It's still one of the characters that falls in that boat.
Towards Disney stuff.
So well, it's under the umbrella. So basically, like if they wouldn't file this lawsuit and they didn't negotiate or anything, so basically I forget, I think it's like 2024, 2025, like the rights would come open and then they could sell the properties to other brands. So that's the way I read it.
Well, it can go back to the person who sold it. Here's in a nutshell. It's not as simple as this, but let me put it into terms. So say if my brand new Captain America that I just got, the Amazon exclusive, if I sold this to Shane for 5 years, in 5 years I can go back and ask the courts to give it back to me, even though Shane paid for it. That's the simple version of it, but there's other details.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. Of course, everybody was like, no, they'll come to a settlement. It'll never go through. The judge will see, blah, 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 blah. But here's what just recently happened. The same thing happened with the Friday the 13th franchise, and he won the settlement. So he gets the domestic rights to Friday the 13th, and then they keep the international rights. And I think there might be some legal stuff with Jason, because Jason wasn't the original killer in the Friday the 13th franchise. So that's why it's kind of a big deal, with why they're like, okay, we need to take this a little bit serious. So kudos to whoever's in the Marvel department that kind of went ahead and found out what was going on and tried to start pressing this issue, because this could be huge in for what could happen with the MCU. Because if we lose those characters, I mean, I get it, they're setting up for all the newer characters and stuff like that, but it still could be, demonstrous.
So who would the rights go back to?
It would go back
Stanley's
to
estate.
Stanley's estate, and there's somebody else. There's something else. There's another company involved. So yeah,
That's because it makes me wonder how, like, 20th Century Fox or whatever kept the X-Men for so long.
I don't know, because it just depends on how long the original deal was for the license. So it doesn't, it's not an automatic thing. It's just if the estate decide to do it, they can within the rule after a certain amount of time. So they could, I mean, this could easily be something simple as they're like, okay, nope, y'all just come bring 2 Brinks trucks to the house and we'll call it even, and you get it for another 10 years and we'll readdress. Like it just depends on that.
And I think there's some weird things in the wording of the lawsuit, like the way they rule on it, where Disney can show that, like, the article was really interesting, but I'm kind of the opinion of this is just Disney getting ahead of things, and they're gonna be like, hey, we've got, like you said, we've got a dump truck full of hundreds, and just let me know where to dump it. Like, It's a multi-billion-dollar franchise. I mean, every movie makes $300 to $1 billion depending on which release. Like, there's no way Disney's giving this up. And yeah, it's going to cost them a crap ton of money, probably a lot more than it cost them how many ever years ago. But I mean, this is a brand you're willing to pay for. I mean, you paid $4 billion for Star Wars, and that was before you've done what you've done now. So, like, think of how much money they've made off this. They're going to settle with the family. I don't think the family wants bad blood with Disney.
And I think if anything, you give them an EP credit for every movie, that they get a piece of it. Like you pay them a outright price, and then you give them so many points on each movie, so they get a stake in it. Like, there's ways to work around it, but it is definitely something to keep your eye on, because it could be catastrophic if it does go through. It could be very, very.
If they lost this lawsuit, think about it. You don't just lose the rights to the characters; you lose the rights to the film and the TV. So all the projects you have are dead. And then look at what they've done with the theme parks. So licensing, merchandising. I mean, you lose all that. So you walk into Disney the day after they lose the lawsuit, and they're taking down Spider-Man and moving Captain America out of there.
And here's the thing, like I said, the reason why it's such a big deal now, because this report came out, I think, about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But recently, because of the Friday the 13th thing, the same lawyer that they use in that case is representing Stan Lee's family and the other company.
Oh, dang.
Right. So that's why it's a little bit of a big deal. Now,
Is
again,
it
the Friday the 13th thing is muddy because they're like I said, they own the domestic rights. So I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the fact that they won a piece of it, this could be a domino effect for properties down the line. You know what I'm saying? Not
right?
just Marvel.
Who owns Stanley's estate? Is it his daughter?
Like I said, I didn't read the article. I kind of heard a conversation talking about like the details of it, and so like I said, I wish I would have had the information in front of me so I could tell you, because I think it's like the Dorian branch or something like that. It's another little faction with the Stan Lee estate. So yeah, but I just wanted to bring that up because we talk about What If, we talk about Phase 5 and all of these other titles that we're excited for, and so those 2025 is not that far away.
Okay, so I'm reading it real quick. It says the dispute started in the spring when a prominent intellectual property lawyer, Mark Toberoff, served Marvel Entertainment, which Disney owns, with notices of copyright termination on behalf of 5 clients. They include Lawrence D. Lieber, a comics writer and artist known for his 1960s era's contributions to Bedrock Marvel characters. Mr. Lieber's older brother, Stan Lee, was chief writer and editor of Marvel Comics. Mr. Toberoff's other clients are the estates of the comic illustrators Steve Ditko and Don Heck, and the heirs of the writers of Don Rico and Gene Colan.
Yeah, Steve Ditko. That's what I was trying to say. I don't know why I said Dorian, but it's Steve Ditko. But yeah, so yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
This looks really interesting. Like, this could be ugly if they were to lose this.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I hate to start it on such a, but we're still in business. Still in business because we talked about something else on the podcast. Disney and Black Widow have come to an agreement. They have come to an agreement. So
we know the terms.
Don't know the terms.
There was closed doors.
They're not going to say the terms. The thing is, we know some money was dropped. Like,
so she's buying a new house, courtesy.
And they said that they're like allowing her back into the whole franchise too. So that was a plus.
Which with I can't. Okay, there's some things that happen on What If that could be interesting. So yeah,
that's all you can say.
That's all I can say. But yeah, so that's the business portion. I wanted to get that out the way. We're so happy for Scarlett Johansson and her team for them to work that out with Disney. I'm sure that makes Kevin Feige happy. I'm sure that's one reason why they got that resolved so quickly. I'm sure he had a very interesting conversation with what's his name, Bob Upchek or whatever his name is for Disney.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I don't know his name though.
Herb Check.
I know.
But anyway, the new Bob Iger. She talked.
Just say that, the new Bob Iger.
I know Feige had a nice conversation with him, especially and the other thing that helped with that too, of course, is the Russo brothers.
Yes.
So yeah, there was a lot of things going on, some nice conversations that happened.
It's a good move by Disney, and I think you had to keep that out of the courts. Like, you don't want to drag that into courts with Scarlett Johansson, and then you get your other actors taking sides and stuff like that, and then you open yourself up. Like, you got to start working into your contracts, depending on how long this pandemic goes and how many movies it affects. You got to start working it into contracts where if you're going to drop something or make it go to streaming pretty fast, then you got to factor that in, because this could blow up in their face. And let's say they paid Scarlett $20 million. You get someone like Robert Downey Jr. suing them, and he's already making $20 million. You're $100 million. So, the amount of money, like long-term repercussions for it, could be really interesting.
I think the bigger piece is it already got bad because it made it to the public to begin with. The thing was that Scarlett Johansson's team, her attorney, actually met with the new Bob Iger ahead of time and said, "Hey, can we just sit down and let's go have lunch and try to work through this?" And he was like, "Nah, have your people call my people." So that's where he had the opportunity early to get it taken care of. So
a lot of bad PR.
It is.
Mhm.
It
A
is.
lot of bad PR.
Somebody who you already have a movie that's out of place for a person who's been there from day 2 that should have been taken care of.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I
but
wonder if it was him just testing the waters. Like was he just seeing what the public reaction would be? Like, they don't know if people are going to support Scarlett in this or if they're going to have a huge backlash like they got. So you think this is just them dipping their toe in the water? Like, let's see what the fans and everybody thinks.
I don't think so. I think it was literally they went against what they were supposed to do, meaning that they knew they were dead in the water because at the end of the day, the contract said it was not going to go to streaming, and you did it. So because you did it, you sabotaged my money. That's there's no court. I mean that wouldn't even they wouldn't even got the summary out, and the judge would have been like, case closed.
It seems so dumb then to not just sit down and cut her a check before you
Mhm.
dragged.
Well, that's why they did it. They knew what was up.
Smart.
Like I said, them conversations behind closed doors, I'm sure were very, very nice.
I mean, you gotta pay the lawyers something. You got probably a whole office building full of them. So yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, listen, we are now transitioning over into Venom, and I'm just going to warn you, this is a spoiler heavy Venom conversation. So if you have not seen Venom, you might want to come back in about 10 minutes or so, because we're going to dive into it. Fufu has seen it. I have seen it. I mean, Michael Myers is my hero, has seen it, and I have seen it. Shane has not, but he has given us his blessing because he has not even seen.
Spoil away. I'm still watching the first one. So,
Michael Myers, start us off.
I mean, I liked it. I thought it was a good take. It was a different take, I guess, on Venom 2. They didn't use the storyline of Venom of Carnage that from like the Carnage series in the comics. It was, I think, maybe Maximum Carnage, because Carnage had a girlfriend, and the Carnage from the early. Yeah, well, the creature didn't. Cletus Cassidy did.
Okay.
But once again, like how they're portraying Venom this route, it's almost like it's telling the story backwards, because like in the comic book, Venom's a criminal. He goes to prison. That's when he meets Cletus Cassidy. That's how Carnage comes to be. And then Carnage is just like this killer that kills because he likes to. There's a lot of details that I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the prison scene, whenever Carnage like is breaking him out or whatever, and he doesn't. I mean, he only kills the guards.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not Carnage. Like he just kills. He just kills like because he wants to kill. He doesn't like pick and choose. He's like, oh.
Well, I think what the reason I understand what you're saying. First of all,
it's the PG-13 thing. I know.
Well, no, I wasn't even saying that, because I mean they still showed some stuff, but this is the reasoning where I'm at, right? So, the what they tried to play on is relationships in this movie. But what I was going to say is kudos to you, because I know how you feel about certain things when they don't necessarily follow the comics. So the fact that you enjoyed it anyway, even though they,
I think the reason I enjoyed it was because of Venom, not because of Carnage.
Okay. So what I was going to say is they played off of relationships in this. So meaning that we've seen in Venom 1, Tom Hardy, what's his name?
Eddie Brock.
Eddie Brock and Venom building their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2, they've already had their relationship. They just are having relationship problems. They're
having relationship problems.
Whereas Cletus Cassidy and Carnage didn't have a relationship. They're starting theirs, because they had a rift in their relationship, which was how Venom was able to then win the confrontation, because of the fact, Carnage, Cletus Cassidy was trying to save his girl. You know what I'm saying? And Carnage could care less about his girl. And so what
so could Cletus Cassidy. That's what I'm just like, ugh.
So the reason why I said I don't think he messed with the inmates or anything or didn't kill them, because I think that was still the very beginning of the relationship, and they just broke out of prison and they were cheering him on or whatever. And I get it. You're saying like Carnage don't care about all
Carnage doesn't care.
which he
Neither does Cletus Cassidy. That's one thing I didn't like either. They did not show near enough like the psychopath that Cletus Cassidy is.
Yeah,
because that's the reason that like Carnage and him go so well together, and why they go on this like killing rampage, and nobody can stop him except for Venom and Spider-Man. Like,
what were your favorite parts of the movie?
My favorite parts of the movie was whenever they were like when him and Venom got into a fight, like literally were fighting each other.
Yeah,
and like Venom like kind of he's still attached, but he's like comes around and dumps the TV out the window, and and then whenever like Venom, like detaches from him, goes out the window, and he starts beating up the bike. It's like they're having a really bad fight.
Yeah. So
like,
I think that was my favorite part of the movie is just their relationship. Like Eddie Brock. And I like their relationship. That was because, and of course, Andy Serkis is the one who directed it. For those who don't know, Andy Serkis was Caesar in the Planet of the Apes films. He was Gollum in Lord of the Rings. He was also in Black Panther as Claw. He's also Snoke. He's also directed Mowgli. So he's established. And he's a master at motion capture. So what they did was they actually had Tom Hardy record all of the Venom parts ahead of time, and then they had an earpiece in his ear. And so when he was saying his lines, they were playing Venom's lines in his ears. That's cool. And the other thing, so here's the thing. I am not as high on the movie as Bonnie, but not in a bad way. Like, I didn't hate the movie. This is my opinion about it. If you liked Venom 1, you will like Venom 2. In my opinion, it feels like an older superhero movie. Like, it's something that like we would have seen during the Spider-Man 2 phase, and that's the feel that it has. So I salute Andy Serkis because he kept the same feeling of the movie, like the same direction that they went in, even though it was a completely different director. He kept the same like if you like the first one, then I don't see why you wouldn't like the second one.
I agree.
The same feel.
I do want to add too that I did enjoy the way that Carnage looked. I thought he looked very good. He was very scary looking. I would have liked to see more of like the dripping look that he has in the comics. But I like the like how he was able to make out of his tentacles like the knives and the sharp things and several at once, and could even like throw them and stuff like that. I did not like, however, that he like tried to take over a building. Like, that just seemed a little too much for me. That like Carnage isn't
wanted like a headquarters.
Well, like it's almost like he's engulfing this whole like tower thing, and that's Venom doesn't, or Carnage doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that part either.
I like Woody Harrelson. I do. I love him.
He's so good.
He's hot.
I didn't particularly like his performance, and I don't think. And here's the thing: I think he did what was asked of him to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't fault him. I don't say, oh, he's a bad actor. No, I think he gave the direction. Whatever the direction was, I think that's what he gave. He was phenomenal as the character. I mean, he's psychotic. He does all of that stuff well. And see, that's what I'm saying. I liked the movie, but it was just like I watched Venom 1 at home. I could have watched Venom 2 at home. And go ahead, sir.
Okay, so let me ask you this: since you both have seen it and I never have, does PG-13 does making this movie PG-13 hold it back from being what it could be? No. Like, if you had done this as rated R, would it feel more like Carnage? Because like when I saw the trailers, I was expecting like Natural Born Killers. Like, I was expecting Woody Harrelson to be a psycho with like with a red Venom. Like,
same here.
And so I hadn't seen the movie, but I just feel like what you're saying is he acted the way he was directed. Like did Andy Serkis direct this? Did I say his name right? Did he direct this to a PG-13? Like, where he kept it in that, and so he's kind of pigeonholed, or is it like when they go with Deadpool, where the gloves are off, you can kind of do whatever you want?
From what I've saw, most people felt like they got away with a lot for it to be PG-13.
I mean, they did, but not. I mean, it's still PG-13 in my book. Like, if they could have pushed it rated R, but once again, I think we would have to see more of the like gruesome killings in order for it to feel more carnagey.
But I honestly don't think that would have affected the movie. All you're getting with PG-13 is a little more blood, more violent kills, and a little more F-bombs. I didn't have any issue necessarily. It was just cool to me. Like the movie was just cool. It wasn't bad. Like I'm not on a Venom hate train. That's not it. Again, I feel the exact same way I did about the first one. And I've heard other people say that. So if you really liked Venom 1, you're probably really gonna like Venom 2 because they didn't do nothing. But like I said, Andy Serkis just took what was already there and just branched out even more. I thought the action sequence looked good. All the CGI looks good. I mean, obviously with
the CGI looked good.
With Andy Serkis being who he is with motion capture, you knew he was gonna shine with that. Like that was the whole point of getting him. Tom Hardy had a hand in writing the story, so he's invested just like what's his name is invested in Deadpool.
See, that I watched interviews prior to watching the movie too, and that was where I was excited because they said that they took bits and pieces from the comics and threw it into the movie. Which, like I said, I enjoyed the movie. I liked it a lot. Mm-hmm. I just didn't like the storyline they did with Cletus Cassidy and Shriek or whatever her name is. That whole thing,
yeah.
I mean, I understand that's like later down the line, and I think it's the Maximum Carnage storyline, but why would you do that one?
Yeah, it's like I said, it was just okay to me. I'm if I'm giving my rating 1 through 10, it's a 5. Like it's not bad, it's not great, but it was entertaining. It was like I told Sarah, I basically spent $60 to hang out with my wife. That's basically what it was. So I mean, because
and support the movie theaters.
And obviously, I really did enjoy the cutscene, which we're gonna get into. We're going to spoil that here in just a moment.
Yes.
I'm trying to get everything out about the movie before we get into that. And shame on Tom Hardy. You'll explain why I said that. But yeah, the movie was, like I said, it was fine. I don't think I don't know what I couldn't even say what I would do differently to make me enjoy it because I just thought it was what it was. It was a 90-minute runtime, so it was pretty quick. The movie moved. I love Tom Hardy. He's an incredible actor. I thought everybody did what they were supposed to do. I do think Naomi was underutilized. She wasn't in it that much. But when she was, she did her thing or whatever like that. So again, it's a 5 for me. What about you, Bonnie?
It's probably a 7, and that's only because they didn't represent Carnage the way that they should have based off of the comics.
Cool. Okay. So now we move to the cutscene. So,
which is what I want to say something too, but go ahead with the cutscene.
Go ahead. What you?
No, you say the cutscene, and then I'm going to say my part.
Okay. So the cutscene, we get Eddie Brock and Venom out on a beach. They are basically in hiding because
that's from the comics too, by the way.
Cool. And as they're sitting in chilling on the beach in the bed, they're talking about their relationship again, trying to figure it out because the running joke in the movie was Eddie Brock wanted Venom to not eat people. He gave him like chicken and chocolate. The chocolate releases an endorphin in his head. That's kind of the same thing that's in human brains. And so the thing was, he had these 2 chickens that Venom had made into pets because couldn't eat them because they're his pets. And so that was a running joke through the whole thing. Now he did get some other chickens later on in the film, but he didn't touch Sonny and Cher. Couldn't do it. But so fast forward, we're having a conversation, and he said, "Listen, hey, you should let me eat the bad guys," and they kind of came to an agreement. Okay, cool. And so then they're having a deep conversation. Like, listen, you don't know what the symbiotes have gone through.
Galactic.
Like, I can give you a piece of what we've been through, so you can understand where. And so Eddie Brock's like, all right, let's do it. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna show you just a smidget of what we went through. So we're thinking like, oh my god, we about to get the backstory. Da 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 da. The room shakes. This orange light goes or yellow light goes off, and flash, and boom, they're in a whole
Room is different.
Room is different. You see it. The bag is different. The scenery, they're in like a luxurious suite. The ceiling fans, the rich people ceiling fans, like all this stuff is going on. And next thing you know, the TV comes on. J. Jonah Jameson is on there, and what do you have? Venom is now in the MCU.
He's in the Spider-Verse.
So he's in the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, because Peter Parker, like the dude, I can't remember his name.
Is it where they rat him out?
Yes.
What?
So it's
where they were saying Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So,
So
it's
that's
the end of the last Spider-Man movie. They're right there.
right.
Well, they're like still at the vacation spot, but they see it on the news.
Yeah, but I mean, timeline-wise, they're right at the end of the last Spider-Man movie.
Right. The other thing too is that Eddie Brock, so he's now a reporter for the Daily Planet.
I'm not happy about it.
And so, and then J. Jonah Jameson's character he's an editor doing like he's doing like what's the dude that everybody hates, the guy Alex Jones or whatever. Okay. He's got a show like that. Just that's kind of what he's doing with the so he works for the West Coast division, Eddie Brock. So anyway, Venom looks at Spider-Man and licks the screen. It was like that face. And so what it is that at the exact moment, we're also thinking too, what happened is, you remember when Doctor Strange does the spell in the new Spider-Man?
Yep. That
maybe that's what that flash was.
So I mixed up all the timelines and he gets thrown into it.
Right. So now he gets to be a part of like this timeline with Spider-Man. So one thing that I'm hoping to see is a different Carnage in this universe. So I'm hoping that we get to actually see the 90s version Carnage now with this.
Spider-Man can't fight, right? Because like isn't he a good guy?
So there's
a
comic. So they said a specific thing, right? They said it was Venom used a specific term. He said I don't know what the term is.
And they were sitting on the beach?
Yes. So
that's from the comic.
Right. But when they're negotiating what they're going to do for him, allowing him to eat bad guys, like some kind of something vigilante, so basically like, look, we're going to help people, but we're going to destroy the bad guys. Like there's a comic where Spider-Man and Venom team up to do that.
Okay.
So it seems like that may be the direction they're going to. We don't know. What this also could mean, though, is that if they do a new Venom movie or when they set up for Sinister Six, that Tom Holland can also be in those franchises. I'm sure that's what the negotiation was.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, is that Venom and Spider-Man go after the Sinister Six. They're the ones that fight them. And I know that was Phil's big. He was like a little kid watching a movie with the whole beach scene and everything. And he said that the word that you're trying to think of, the little phrase that they used, and he was like so excited about it. And then because he was hoping that he would get to see a setup to the Sinister Six, and that kind of left it open the way that it ended.
Well, the other thing too, the reason why I said shame on Tom Hardy, because Tom Hardy was spotted with that No Way Home film, and this was before Venom came out. So people that he was going to be in the movie, and so you show this, then it's a strong possibility he's in it. And
I'm cool with that.
Not a big part, obviously. I just think when the actual stuff starts happening, where we see the Doc Ock and Green Goblin and whatever like that we might get a cameo from him. So
it makes sense. I mean, why not put him in? I mean, Spider-Man's a massive franchise right now. It's one of the biggest. Why not put him in it and just keep growing the brand? Yeah. Especially if they already have so much interconnected stories through the comics.
I'm really hoping that, like, since we're in a different universe outside of the Venom universe, so in the comics, how it works is Venom attaches Spider-Man first, right? And he's always like trying to get back to Peter Parker because he like really likes being symbiotic or whatever with him because of his powers and stuff. So I'm kind of interested to see if they're gonna allow that kind of stuff to build.
There's a lot. There's a lot. Then that's why people were so super excited about the cutscene, just because the implications. Because the thing is that we're talking real world, right? We knew that Sony and Marvel had conversations where Tom Holland had to intervene because Tom Holland was about to be out of the MCU. And so I'm sure as a part of the negotiations, because Sony has already announced their other movies. They already announced stuff like the other villains from the Sinister Six. And so in order to bring that together, you need Spider-Man. You cannot just like Spider-Man was rumored to be in Venom 1. He actually had a scene that they shot, but they didn't put it in the movie. So that's always been a part of everything. The other thing is like, what does this mean? Because the other thing too in the movie, what's her name? Naomi's character. Yeah. She mentioned the word, she said, my mutations are getting stronger.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Really?
She did.
Yes. So they are slowly dripping this stuff.
They are.
Interesting.
So,
well, I mean, think about it. You've got this phase written, right? So if I'm assuming we're talking mutants, right? Are we talking X-Men? So you've got, what is it? Are we on what is this, phase 4?
Phase 4 or 5 or something like that.
Yes, we're on phase 4 right now.
If we're on phase 4 and you know that mutants are coming because you finally got the business end of mutants done, like you start dropping hints all through phase 4, and then the cut scene at the end of phase 4 is your introduction to the X-Men. You open phase 5 with an X-Men movie.
Well, the rumored report is that Scarlet Witch is going to fight somebody from the Fox franchise.
X-Men, yes.
Somebody is so they're either thinking Fantastic Four or X-Men.
No desire to see Fantastic Four. I have not seen a good Fantastic Four thing yet.
You haven't seen a Fantastic Four under Kevin Feige.
That's true, and that's the only reason I'm excited about Fantastic Four, and excited about what's going to happen with Venom now.
Right.
Do you think we'll get to see Venom with the spider on his chest now?
I do. I think somehow that he's going to look at Spider-Man and that he's going to almost like mimic him, to where that's where we're going to finally get the spider on the chest. So that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of implications because of it. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I would say that's probably one of the most exciting parts of this whole movie was the cutscene and what you're saying. Look at the conversation we're having now. It's allowing for so much bigger conversation, not just Spider-Man specific, but also, X-Men, Fantastic Four, all this other stuff. So I'm excited about Eternals now.
and at the same token too, think about how well this sets up Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, everybody is uber excited already, but the fact that now, you just like it made it feel like a Marvel movie, a part of it.
Oh, yes.
And so cool. Yeah, it is pretty cool. And so that's what I'm saying. Like I said, I enjoyed the film. It was entertaining. I got to have a date night with my wife on a Sunday, but at the same token, I paid the $60 for that cutscene.
Yeah.
So do you think we get? I mean, are they going to introduce Deadpool into this universe? If we're bringing,
they are.
So Deadpool will become part of this.
They already announced that.
Okay. Didn't they say they were going to keep the R rating?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: we already saw the interview with Korg.
Oh yeah, with Korg and Deadpool. I've already watched that the other day. Like, it's probably been a week ago. I'm like, it's so good.
Shane, have you seen it?
What are we talking about?
Korg and
Deadpool.
Yes, I thought you said Corey, and I was racking my brain for something I'd seen with Corey, and I was like, man, I am not on my game tonight. Yes, no, that was brilliant. I mean, that was
so good.
So good.
Go rewatch it. It's so good to rewatch.
So good. I'd show it here, but Disney would send the lawyers to our door. It's so
oh my gosh. I do want to bring up something, and it's not MCU related. I don't even know if you guys want to talk about it, but this just made my brain go, oh yeah. Did you know that they released the House of the Dragons or whatever Game of Thrones prequel trailer? I didn't even realize it until I was on TikTok today. They were talking about how bad it did, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know they released it.
I knew that it came out. I haven't watched it though.
So
It was pretty good,
I saw a picture of it, and I was just like, meh. And I am not one who hated Game of Thrones. Like I love Game of Thrones. I didn't think the last season was that bad. I just thought it was too short. And so, I mean, there's just not a lot of excitement for something set 2,000
just
years
check it
before.
out. And there's supposed to be 7, like George R. Martin came out and even said there's supposed to be 17 dragons in this whole storyline. So there's gonna be a lot of
I
dragons.
can get behind the dragons.
I have to tip my hat to Bonnie.
Okay.
She is the one that brought me into the Game of Thrones franchise, her and Rod. And when season 7 was being shot and produced or whatever, that's when I used the time to catch up on all the other 6 seasons. So by the time 7 started, I would be caught up with them. So that's where, but yes, she's the one who inducted me into GOT.
So
And-
good.
So good.
I started with season 1 and introduced my wife going into season 2. So we watched it all together with another couple. We made it like an every night thing, and man, it was so good.
That's what I loved. But yeah, that last season they just it was really like the last 2 episodes that I'm like, what the why?
That's the problem when these shows get so big, like, and the budgets are so big, and so they're like, we got to finish this. So what do? You cram like think about those first seasons. Like everything was so slow and drawn out.
Yeah, but the first seasons were written in books first.
Well, yeah, that is true. That is true.
But I mean, but you fleshed it out so well. And then the last season, there's so much like Dany's descent. Like we could have stretched that out into a couple seasons, and it would have felt more natural. Instead, we get 8 episodes, and they cram like 2 books worth of stuff into 8 episodes. 2 books that I say he hasn't even written.
Books written for season 8.
Well, I understand that. What I'm saying is he told them how the series was going to end. He
told
them when it started.
No.
If you read the reports, they said that they knew how the series would end.
Because this whole like the new series that's coming out, they've got George R. R. Martin like on the set, and that's like why this one supposedly is supposed to be better than how the last ended.
But I mean, either way, and what I was doing the gift No King.
Yes, the Night King. Yeah. Oh, I rewatched Game of Thrones actually for work.
But look, we only got a short time left, so we got to move forward.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I just meant to throw that in there.
No, it's all cool. Shane, something we can spoil because Bonnie's not going to watch it. Foundation. Did you watch the 3rd episode?
No. I failed you.
What's Foundation?
I failed you. It's so good.
Foundation is on Apple TV. It is Star Wars meets.
I'm actually gonna have to get Apple TV because my therapist told me I need to watch that Ted.
You need to watch Ted Lasso.
She said I need to watch that show.
Ted Lasso.
In therapy too. I'm like, what does that mean?
Bonnie, you might as well invest in Kleenex.
Oh God.
Bonnie, did you watch it? Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
No.
Okay. Well, if you're gonna get Apple, also watch Mythic Quest.
Okay. So well, Foundations apparently.
Yeah. So
Ted
Foundation.
Lasso.
It seems as though whoever created it was a Star Wars fan. They talk about the Galactic Empire. There's pretty much a empire style organization that if you don't do what they ask you to do, then you disappear type stuff. All of that stuff's going on. The cinematography is incredible. Apple does not pull back on any expense on this show. It is very, very well done. It's vibrant. It's interesting because it's sci-fi with the, it's just, it's one of those things like when you watching a superhero movie, you always compare it to the MCU because they are the kings. So anytime you see anything sci-fi, you compare it to Star Wars. Yeah. So it feels that way.
Yeah.
But I need you to watch the 3rd episode.
I will get it done.
I cannot say anything about it until you see it.
I will be ready for you on Sunday. I promise. I was gonna do it yesterday, but I finished Visions, and then I finished the one I always call Visions. What if? Yes.
Well, let's get into Visions anyway, because I think we'll save What If for the last couple of minutes. That way we can let Bonnie go since she's gonna want to watch it. But Vision. So you finished it. What did you think?
Hands down, my favorite episode was the one behind us. I don't remember the title, but hands down my favorite episode.
What I can't see what's
So
behind.
it's where he has the apprentice, and they go to the planet, and they find the ship, and they fight the old man. Like,
I forgot what that's called.
I do too.
That is, I think it's the old man or something like that. It's something like that.
I mean, it's so well done, and like, I mean, obviously, I'm a sucker for, and I think it was my favorite lightsaber battle, even though it was short. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I just love, like, you see the apprentice there, and he's like, he senses it, and he's like, run, and he doesn't, because he's an apprentice. So
Yeah. Well, you know what it reminded me of? So we talked about this. It reminded me of the episode of Clone Wars where there was a new apprentice that just made it to Jedi Knight. They went to General Grievous's to his hideout, his home, his whatever you call it, his sanctum, and he was so overzealous. He started to crave power, and he ended up, when they were supposed to run, he didn't, and he stayed and fought Grievous, and it did not go his way.
It added a lightsaber to the collection.
Yep, basically. Yeah. So that's what it felt like. It felt like that.
So this episode was cool to me because like this to me sets up something that you could go off of. Like, this opened a lot of doors. Like, it was a self-contained story, but like it ends where you can go, like, you could start a series off this. I want to know what happened. Like, why were we searching for the old man? Like, why did the old man blow up his ship? Like what
that was, they did explain some of that, but it was the others. Like, I think what that particular episode was is we need to know the backstory of the master.
Yes.
Because when they got to where they got, because they felt a disturbance in the forest. That's why they landed.
Right.
They weren't going there. And then when they got there, he had been there before, and he was like, nope, let me talk to the people. And because these people are the type of people they get nervous. So let me talk to him, and then whoop. And he didn't want to let him go by himself, but he also was like, I gotta let him grow up. You know what I'm saying? It was just that whole thing of, the care that the master had for him, but at the same time, but he felt like a young Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yes.
But a little more reckless.
Yes.
Because they had that samurai feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the old man, like even when when the apprentice was like, bro, I didn't, like, I'm surprised you killed him. He was like, listen, if he had been a young man, I wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, he said it would have been a different story. Like,
right. That squabs, bro.
Dude. And I like when he said, "Are you a Sith?" And then he goes on to criticize the Sith, and basically he doesn't acknowledge to being a Sith. He talks about how the Sith were like, all they were worried about is power, and so it's just really interesting hearing, like, a little bit of a twist, because that is lore, the way the Sith fell, but like, so you don't know where this sits in timeline, but like, this makes my little lore brain like just start spinning. And then when he blows up the ship, what is he hiding? And then he's like,
it just vanishes. His body just disintegrates.
It's just like it just fades into ash, and like all my little like spidey senses are tingling. Like, who is he? Where did he come from? What is he hiding? Like, so I want more this episode, and then the very next one, which is the bunny episode.
Bunny episode was, listen, when he gave the bunny the paper, I said, no, y'all ain't finna take me out like this. I ain't crying today. Not today. Not to listen.
Like, so Bonnie, have you seen these?
Are you talking about Visions?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first 3.
Okay, so you're behind. So we're gonna spoil the bunny episode. Okay. The bunny episode like totally does it for me, because like, she's this like slave, I guess. And they befriend her and take her to their family, and then they grow up together.
Cannot forget the droid.
And she has, you cannot. Okay, so then like, his actual daughter betrays them, like, and sides with the Empire, and the bunny girl sides with the dad, and so you got all this family drama, and then he presents her like the family blade. And first off, I want that lightsaber. Like,
was it not beautiful?
Oh my god!
Which episode is this?
This is like episode 8 or something.
Yeah,
like
this
that.
is like right before the end. And when she flips the blade on, and you see her when she fights the sister, you see like I think they were Japanese, right? You see like Japanese character etched inside the lightsaber blade, and just.
It's this is why, I mean, but I'm sorry we spoiling this episode, but
I'm not really paying attention to what you're saying, so we're good.
Well, the thing is that it's the family dynamic because he did not want to take this slave girl, and the daughter convinced him, and she was a little girl, just super excited, like, you're gonna enjoy our family. And they took this picture together on the beach. And so when they grew up, the daughter was getting sick of her dad. Like her dad was like a part of the rebellion, and the empire was trying to take over and do stuff. They're trying to buy all this property or whatever. And so she cuts her hair to a short haircut, and she goes to be a part of the empire. The bunny runs back to tell the dad, and the dad, who hadn't, because he even told her, like, they were getting into a loud argument, and it was like, listen. And they told the bunny, they're like, no, you stay out of this because you ain't even a part of this family. Like, nah. So then when the bunny comes back, and the dad was like, okay, I got something to give you. And then he sits down.
She asks, will you give me your power?
Yes.
And just like right then, he's like, oh, that whole scene, man. That whole scene.
Did you cry?
No, I don't cry.
I was that close. Listen, when he gave her that blade, because like what I'm saying is it meant something. Everything about Vision, about these kyber crystals, about Jedi and Sith, it's done so well, because you touched on it even from the episode with the old man, right? It went into this thing where it wasn't defined about Sith and Jedi. Like in the first episode, we saw he was carrying around a whole bunch of red kyber crystals, and people just assumed he was a Sith. He was like, no, this is gonna ward off the evil. And like that, just those details, because in my opinion, I don't care if it's canon or not. In my brain, it is. It's in a different part of the galaxy somewhere else that has nothing. And all of these different things are going on at the same time. That's what makes Star Wars bigger, right? When we're only focused on just the trilogy, like the trilogies, and they're all centered around the Skywalker saga. Even though Mandalorian is not really about the Skywalkers, Luke was still in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are CP33. I mean C3PP right now. No.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like so excited to see you react the way that you're reacting about these, because they're like animated or anime, so it's Japanese cartoons or whatever you want to call them. And it's really cool to see how passionate you are about these.
Because I didn't expect to like this as much as I
good.
did, it bothers me that Jared doesn't really like it, right? Well,
Really?
He doesn't like anime, and he tried to give it a chance, but he wanted to give up early, and we forced him to watch some more. But the story, like, because our favorite episode that everybody as a consensus is the Ninth Jedi. That's the one. And so even the episode, the Pinocchio episode, I enjoyed that one.
It wasn't my least favorite. Episode 2 is still by far my least favorite. I had the hardest time connecting with it because I wasn't a big fan of the Pinocchio story, but I liked, as it went on, it got better. Like in the very beginning, I was like, nah, this isn't my cup of tea. But like once the story fleshed itself out, yeah, I could get behind it.
But the last episode,
come on. Yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Listen, if it did not have a touch of the Anakin storyline, so basically, Bonnie, the small synopsis of it is, he had to give himself up in order to save somebody, but he had visions about it early on. Like he was having visions, and his master was telling him, like, listen, you don't need to go. I'm telling you, if you go, this is gonna play out. Like I'm telling you. And he thought he was strong enough, and it cost him himself.
Yep.
And it ended so dark. Like it was Sith heavy.
Yes.
It was so heavy on the
So
dark.
good. My favorite scene
That's why I love them.
My favorite scene out of the entire series is with this episode behind us, when they're fighting the old man and he first turns on his lightsaber and he's holding it, and you see the smoke coming off the blade from the rain. I got chills. Because you have the dark guy holding two sabers, and then he's standing there holding his green blade, which first off, I'm a sucker for green blades. And he's holding his green blade, and it's it's that classic anime shot where it's like, they pull back and you see him and you see the blade and you just see the steam rising off of his green lightsaber. And I'm just like, and that stuff gives me chills. Like
when his apprentice threw his saber to him,
bro,
and it was like, and it just that hole in his chest, and he was almost like ready to die. Like, That was good. I wouldn't expect that.
He sticks it to, and they do that. They do that like pregnant pause. He sticks it to his chest, and the blade's not ignited, and you're like, he just cut off. He just cut one of his blades in half, which was badass. And then he sticks the lightsaber hilt to his chest, and you're just like, flip that switch.
Listen,
and there's like a 2-second pause, and then he just pops it, and you hear the whoosh as the lightsaber opens, and you just know. And then they zoom out, and you just see the hole.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Listen,
come on.
I'm watching Visions again, bro. Yeah. I'm watching it again.
100%.
I'm all in. I want season 2. I want follow-ups on some of these stories because the Ninth Jedi they got like you gotta finish.
You gotta.
There's like have they announced anything on them?
No.
I'm anxious, which I need to get them finished, but I'm anxious to see, I guess, what the fans have said, seeing, Star Wars in this kind of setting, in this anime setting.
Positive.
Yeah, I've only heard positive. I haven't heard
good.
Negative reaction.
I mean, even my son, which mind you, when he was little, he was into Star Wars, but he's not anymore. But he's a very big anime fan, and he even enjoys the Visions.
Yeah, it was great.
And it's cool because if you know your anime, someone like you're gonna recognize like the different franchises and the different like popular animes that there's definitely a feel. Like even me who knows a little bit, I can see like some popular animes in some of these. Like there's one episode where like I swear it was like an Akira with that music. I swear they used the exact same music tone for it. It's got to be really cool for people that know anime deeply because these are major studios, so you're gonna get some of the same feels, like in the way the characters are designed and stuff. It's just so well done.
Just the way you guys are describing this last episode, that's one of the things that I enjoy about animes is that they can go dark. They can go real dark, and you still have that emotional gut punch that you expect from just regular movies or other cartoons. But animes just really bring it in.
Yeah. No, these episodes are great. Now, like I said, I am gonna rewatch. I cared about it way more than I thought I would. Yeah. But I'm talking about, I just let myself get immersed in what was going on. And I think like I said, in my brain is canon because I can see it happening. It's just not happening. Again, a galaxy far, far away. It doesn't have to be anywhere near any of the systems we ever knew. Beyond, it could be beyond the outer realm. Like it could, like it was well done.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about like where does this fall in the timeline. Like these are just bite-sized stories. Like they tell a really personal story that doesn't have to tie in with, like you said, the Luke or the Jedi temples or anything like that. These are just like you can tell a story of one Jedi that went off and did something. Like, and you don't have to give us like this is where he's, this is who trained him. We don't need a bunch of backstory. These stories, like, they're so well done that, you can drop in little bits of lore, but you don't have to inundate it with where is this going to fall? Does this affect any games or any books or any movies? Like,
because they hit on the whole Order 66 stuff. Like it was like talked about, like there's not many of us left or whatever the case may be, or people are hiding their identity as being a force wielder. That's the name. So I'm just saying that it was real. I'm super excited. Can't wait for Bonnie to finish it.
Yes.
But I also can't wait for Bonnie to finish
a lot of things.
Yeah, of course. But anyway, with that, we're gonna allow Bonnie to give us her final stuff so that me and Shane can go into our what if spoiler talk. Bonnie, what do you have for us?
4.
Because we're gonna go into what if. So I was going. I know you didn't want to.
Spoil, so I'm gonna say my goodbyes.
Do you want to do what if next week?
I think we would lose the lust of it if we wait till next week. Is what I'm saying. Because I mean, and here's what I'm saying. We always do this. If next week after she's seen it, she's like, okay, yo, we got to talk about this.
We can dive in.
She can dive in.
Yeah, we can dive in. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I don't have much. Just prepare for spooky season.
It's time.
Yes, I got I'm super excited.
I got my animatronics. I'm like 4 now.
Did you get the 12-foot skeleton that everybody wants?
From Home Depot? No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I didn't get it. Mine came from Spirit Halloween. I got the Harvester of Souls, the Nightcrawler. I have this lady, and then a couple of jumping spiders. So
nice.
It'll be fun. I will see you guys next Thursday.
Have a good one.
What if, brother?
Last 2 episodes.
I enjoyed them.
I mean, really well done. And now I want to know I mean, we talked a little bit about it before stream, so we could dive into it. To me, it felt like there you could definitely feel the missing episode.
Yeah, it was the Gamora episode. It was
Yes.
Gamora and Tony Stark. So it looked like it took the Thor Ragnarok storyline and mixed in with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
So it's I think it's what if Gamora would have killed Thanos. So maybe when she stabbed him with the knife, that he didn't use the reality stone or whatever to bring himself back.
Okay.
So maybe she was successful when they came up with the plan. And then I think the way that the Iron Man, because he had Hulkbuster, maybe he became the champion on Thor Ragnarok instead of Thor.
Okay.
So that's what the speculation is, because we don't know. And then Dimitri had his hands, so Thanos never. And then they were destroying the gauntlet.
Yeah.
So that is an interesting episode, but they just threw that in there, and it was just weird. But if you notice, did you feel some type of way that Tony pretty much died in all of them? And there's only one universe that Tony didn't die, which was that one, but they still didn't use him. They was like, nah, Gamora has been chosen.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe they just wanted to focus on other characters because Iron Man was such a push in the actual series. Like, yeah, you're right. He was really an afterthought.
I think Tony Stark's death was an absolute point.
I think you're right.
So
I think you're right.
No matter which universe you're in, he has to die. Like, that's just what it is. Which sucks, because that means, we've heard talks of Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU. So it'd be interesting that if they're gonna keep that as an absolute point or not. Because the thing is, you can always go back in time and pull him back, just like, because they killed the Thanos from the past in the future.
Right. They could bring him back very easily. I don't know that they want to bring him back. Like, it was such an emotional selling point for those films and for that arc. Like, it feels like you cheapen it if you just bring him back in the next. And then
I don't think it cheapens it. I think that because this is my brain on it, and I don't mean to cut your point. My thought process is this, right? You have an instance to where you're trying to figure this out. They bring Bruce Banner in, and they're like, listen, bro, you the brains of the operation now. We need you to figure this out. He can't figure it out. Shuri can't figure it out. And then they're like, listen, I only know one person that can figure this out. He's like, bro, you can't be saying what I'm thinking you saying. Like, I mean, what else are we going to do? It's the fate of the world. We've done it before. I get it, but I'm just saying that, like, how is we? And then they have to go talk to Pepper about it. And Pepper is just kind of like, are you serious right now? And then they have to talk to Morgan. And so then it's just like what, how does this change things? And then they talk to Doctor Strange about it. And Doctor Strange is like, there's only one way. So it's referencing back to that.
Son of a bitch.
You make the attachment with all the characters that have to okay this. And Pepper's not on board at first. And so they try to figure out some other way to do it, but it doesn't work out. And then Pepper makes the call, like, do it. And they go bring it. And then we see this portal open up, and RDJ comes out. And he's like, did you miss me? Or he don't, I mean, because obviously you got to explain it to him, like, bro, listen, we about to pull you out. You're going to see some stuff, like your wife, you got a kid, and you died in this unit. Like, and it's going to mess with him. But there's ways to do it that doesn't cheapen it.
I didn't think that you could do it, but I mean, you just spent a minute, and I'm already like, that could be really, really cool. Like, that would be neat. But I think if you're going to do it, and I have all the faith in Marvel. I mean, all the faith in Marvel. If you're going to do it, it's gotta. It can't feel like a gimmick, right? And it can't feel like if anyone dies, we could just bring them right back. Like, it's got to be necessary. It's got to fit the story, and it's got to have emotion. Like,
well, just like what they did with Natasha in What If, right?
Yeah,
they brought her back. They put her in a universe where she was dead,
and they just straight up acknowledged it, which you got to do, because he just said, "You're not my Natasha, but you have her heart."
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it didn't feel cheap to me, like, because what it was that you had the emotional connection with Natasha because she just lost it all in her universe. She lost everybody else,
everything.
So she's like, I'm not going back to that. Like, I cannot stay here and be by myself. This place was full of zombies. I just lost the one person I was connected to. I am not going back.
Yeah.
And so he did her a solid and put her in a universe where they lost her. And like you said, they acknowledged it right off the bat. She had instant impact, and now that's a conversation that they get to have, and bam. And so that's what made me think about with Disney saying that they're welcoming her back into the family. Could something like this happen in live action?
I mean, you could very easily. And I think if you're going to do this, like reintroduce her first, like bring her back, get the fan base used to it, and introduce this concept of bringing dead characters back into these realities before you bring RDJ back. Like I think that could be like if you're going to bring RDJ back, man, you save that for an Avengers type event like that. But you could work Natasha back in easily, and she's a big name. Like the movie did well. I don't think it was massive, but also it came out at a weird time, and there's a lot of stuff there. But I think you could reintroduce her pretty easily, and it would feel more natural. And then you save, like, if you're really gonna think about it, if 2 years from now we're coming to like the culmination of this arc, and then we're in what is it, the Avengers 4 or 5, and you see RDJ walk in towards the end of the film or something like, I mean, that's going to have a huge selling point. So I think you reintroduce her.
The thing is with the multiverse of madness, the multiverse, it's easy to bring both characters back because I'm already concerned about like I need the Wakanda Forever series first before they do Black Panther 2. Because if they're gonna do something with T'Challa, it needs to go through that series to build us up to what's going on and then move on or whatever they're planning to do. So it's all possible. But I mean, that detail aside, let's get into the actual finale episode. What did you think about Ultron Vision?
I liked it better than the Ultron movie. I thought he was much more well done. He was more fleshed out, and he felt like a bigger villain. Like to me, it felt like he felt bigger than Thanos. Which
listen, the way he cut Thanos in half when Thanos stepped through that portal, bro, I was in tears laughing because I'm thinking like, bro, you walked out like you was king stuff and just got your whole stuff chopped up in half. Like that jump was incredible.
And then when you hear him, like, when you have the Watcher and you hear him talking, and then he said, "Who said that?" And the Watcher was like, "Oh no," like, "Oh no," and then he starts like panicking, like, so well done. And like, I get that this is what if, but like, man, like, I wish we could have gotten that Ultron in a movie because I mean that was a villain. Like, I mean, I love, and he felt invincible, right? Like it felt like there's no way they're gonna beat him, and I like the way they finally did like work it out. Like it was really cool the way it ended, but like from a villain standpoint, like so well done, especially for how late in the series he got introduced. Like it still felt like oh no, like this could end all the multiverse right here. Like it was just so well done, and like I liked the character, and it was cool too that you get like he's still Vision.
Yeah.
But he's not. Like, and I like too that you get the tie-ins with when they injected the virus into him. That was pretty cool. I didn't see it coming.
The only thing I was disappointed with, because when Doctor Strange brought all the zombies in and we saw Scarlet Witch, where was Thanos? Where was zombie Thanos?
That's actually a good point, because they basically only did Scarlet Witch there. Because you see all the zombies fall, and it's just only Scarlet Witch at the end. Which
and then we never saw what happened to Bucky. Was Bucky a zombie? Was Hulk a zombie? Because we saw Hulk fighting Scarlet Witch. That's how it ended. So what happened? There it was cool. It was, I will give it a mark up over Bad Batch, because I think with it being more condensed, they got to the meat and even left out an episode. So it was okay. It wasn't my favorite series. Like, I don't know if I'll rewatch What If, but I mean, it was cool. It was fine. I enjoyed it. I had no expectation for it, so I was fine with it.
Same. Like I totally forgot it was coming until you were like, "Hey, have you watched episode 1 yet?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So like it caught me off guard. It's not something that I would put on my like I can't wait list, but when season 2 drops, I will start it like immediately. Like I want another season of it.
Now, the other thing too, I loved how Steven put the spells on everybody, and so they were kind of almost invincible for a stint. Thor was still silly. but at least made up for the episode because his episode was I didn't like it.
His episode was the worst,
Yeah.
like hands down.
But I enjoyed the fights. All the fight scenes was
All
good.
the fights. Yep.
Like even when Captain Carter had to talk Natasha down before she got, when she stole the Infinity Stone or whatever. T'Challa still in the Infinity Stone.
Yep.
In him having to, and then of course Killmonger fleshing out his whole plan. And how amazing was his suit when he got the Infinity.
How cool was that? Like, I mean, how cool was that? And I honestly, like, I mean, I'm a Killmonger was cool, and I'm curious to see, like, because we don't know that whole dynamic. Like, I mean, he could be a bad guy going into season 2. You could flesh that out more. I'm sorry. You've got Ultron. I mean, Ultron, whatever he is now. You could flesh that out more. The fight scenes were so well done. Like, and I really liked the Captain Carter and Widow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love their interaction and like. I mean, and when they're talking to each other, and she's like, "You really do know me." Like, I want more of that. I want Captain Carter. I want to see a what if type series, but flesh out more in Captain Carter's universe. And even at the end, there we get, they go in and they look in there, and there's the what is it, the Hydra Buster?
Yeah.
And so that's in there, and they're like, "Guess who's still in it?" So, I mean, I feel like they're setting us up for more. So,
because I mean, it was playing into the Captain America Winter Soldier storyline, and
exactly.
so you had me at that because that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite MCU movies of all time. So, all in all, like I said, I think it was good. It's a nice setup for season 2. They will probably address that episode that was left out because we didn't get much of Gamora at all the whole season. So. And like I said, they just completely Tony Stark dying in every episode. He's only alive in one universe right now. So,
which that's all we need. We only need one Tony Stark.
Yeah,
we only need one.
Yeah. Well, man, look, great episode.
Great episode.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. You can join us every Thursday at 7:30. We are the Marauders. That's my boy C3PP, aka Shane, and I am Ace Kennedy, the Forest Wielder, and we will see you guys next Thursday. Thank you so much.
We out.